Are we now seeing their true colors? This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to get into a ton of stuff. As usual, in this video, we have an interesting interview on Joe Rogan regarding something that happened back in January. Of course, regarding, you remember that whole event with our president? Yes, indeed. We had them discussing that a little bit. Joe Rogan gets into it and talks about an interesting connection. He talks about a certain company. We're going to get into that. We're also going to get into a ton of other stuff. We have here a number of other stories to get into, what's going on with the economy, what's going on, of course, on the right. People are talking about also this new set of emails that came out and how they actually exonerate, of course, our president. We'll get into that as well. And let's just get going here. We'll start with this, the big story. Breaking, the Tuckmeister announces he's releasing evidence tomorrow, proving the FBI is lying. Oh, that's interesting, about what happened to our president back in January. You remember that guy who tried to take him, of course, out. Joe Rogan talking with Elon Musk about the insane inconsistencies, how his home was completely clean, no silverware, nothing. The guy had literally no activity on the internet whatsoever, no footprint whatsoever, was in a commercial for a company. Very strange. Talking about BlackRock, and actually we got another story about BlackRock as well we're going to get into in this video. But let's play this clip here real quick. Check this out.
Well, I'd like to know that.
Well, yeah, but
that one's crazy. You know the whole deal with that guy's house, professionally scrubbed, no footprint on the internet, no social media footprint.
yeah, there's 0% chance that he has no social media footprint.
He was in a BlackRock commercial.
We got something on that.
Do you think BlackRock's a bad company?
I don't think any company is a bad company.
Okay.
I think their design is
some
to
weird
make as
coincidences.
much money.
Of course, they're designed to make as much money as possible. And interestingly, I got something on that as well. We'll get into that in a little bit. Are we now seeing their true colors? This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got so many things as usual to get into in this video. We have Joe Rogan on one of his recent episodes talking about how mean people can be. And we have it both on the left and the right. We're going to get into that. We got also apparently the whole thing with the H-1Bs. We'll get into that. Our president's talking about it. Even the VP. A lot of people are losing their jobs and inflation is through the roof. And we're going to get into some of what's going on with all of this. We have also what's going on with OpenAI, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel. We're going to get into actually a ton of other stuff, including speech. I didn't really get a chance to get into a lot of these things over my other channel. There's a number of things going on all at the exact same time regarding free, of course, speech. And it seems like everyone, we're talking all across the board, is trying to go, of course, after it. We'll get into that. And I think I know why. We'll get into why they're doing that. We're going to get into some stuff about Hollywood, Orlando Brown, and a number of other things. Let's just get going here. Let's start with this here. Joe Rogan. Let's play this clip real quick.
There's a video of this lady in New Jersey. She gets out of a Cybertruck. Just gets out. She was a passenger. And this lady who's walking her dog goes, "How's it feel to be racist?" And she's like, what are you talking about? She got a ride. She wasn't even driving.
Oh,
someone dropped her
hers.
off. She's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, you're racist. You're in a Cybertruck. You're racist. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're crazy.
It blows my mind.
Well, people are always looking for every possible opportunity to be a shithead.
This is true, man. And now we're seeing it everywhere. It's not just on the left. Apparently, there's a lot of infighting on the right as well. You got Dinesh D'Souza going crazy all of a sudden on X, showing his true colors as well. It's kind of amazing. I just saw this tweet from him earlier trying to say all these people are of the same ilk. They're saying, obviously, this is not the case. Zoran here is not about America, of course, first. Neither are any of some of these other people. and they're trying to put them all together as one. This is what Dinesh D'Souza did in his recent tweets. It's almost like he wants to make everybody irritated, mad. You have him saying things like this, that, he was commenting about the H-1Bs, where, obviously some of the Americans are losing their jobs to these, coming in and taking their jobs. Dinesh here says, practical suggestion, maybe if you put on a clean shirt, remove your baseball cap artfully worn back to front to show the adjusto strap to full advantage, you might qualify for a well-paying job in one of those factories Trump talks about. This is, oh my goodness. Okay, so let's unpack this. First, those factories aren't here yet. It is very obvious our president is trying to bring a lot of jobs back to America, but it takes time. He's making all these deals with various companies, AI companies, auto companies. The AI one really gets me, though. I don't know what he's obviously with Apple and all these companies are investing in America, but it makes you wonder how much of those jobs are going to AI. You know what I mean? Like what that's another issue. You have the whole AI taking jobs. So our president's bringing these factory jobs back to America, auto factories, various companies, John Deere, et cetera, et cetera. And he's also getting Apple and all these other companies to invest in America. But those jobs take time. It doesn't the factory's not built overnight. My friend, his father had a massive construction company. He did some of the factory buildings for GM. It took him like a year and a half to build it all. And then it was like a year and a half later, he got paid for it. You know what I mean? So it takes time for these things to happen. So that's one. Two, what is he talking about? Nobody wears a baseball cap hardly. There's a few people here and there that do. Clean shirt? What are you talking about, dude? Like, his comments are just absolutely tone deaf. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about at all. And, of course, he's been taking heat because he's been saying that Asians get paid better than white people. It's just insane, the stuff he's been saying at jobs. He's been saying these things, right? Then you got, on the same side, Ben Shapiro also taking shots at people that can't get a good enough paying job. Check this out.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places.
So what he's saying is hogwash, because for one, things are changing. They're changing for the worse in the temporary as some of these deals are being made. And I explained it all out over my business channel, what's going on. Our president apparently has the ear of companies and his constituents, the American people, and he's trying to appease both sides. And what's going on is a lot of these companies are going under right now. And I went through and I pointed out a lot of examples. BlackRock, one of their massive loans just went under because a company collapsed overnight. Renovo collapsed overnight. This is insane. Only has 100,000 in assets, 100 million in liabilities. They just went under and cost BlackRock a ton of money. When that happened, that's exactly when our president came out with this whole 50-year mortgage idea. And so what's going on, just to explain it, because he's a businessman and I'm a businessman. I've been doing business for many years, since about 2001. 2001 is when I started my business, my first business. The fact is, what's going on here is he has the ear of both sides. He's trying to make it lower cost for you a month with a 50-year mortgage, but also at the same time, he's making a ton of money for BlackRock. So what's going on is BlackRock is actually at a tight spot. A lot of these companies are at a tight spot right now. The market is far worse than you realize. The AI market bubble is really bad. These companies are about ready to go under. We have a number of them that just went under. There's another one that went under that works with Marriott. Auto sector, tons of bankruptcies. So a lot of companies are going under right now because the APRs are high. So this is a really complex system. So it all comes back to the Fed. The reason why the APRs are high and these companies are going under is because the Fed is not cooperating with our president. So you can pretty much blame Jerome Powell for almost all of this. Even his suggestion of a 50-year mortgage is likely because of Jerome Powell. He said next month Jerome Powell is going to be gone. This is how much he doesn't like him. But What I'm thinking is he may get rid of the Fed. If he gets rid of the Fed, you're going to be able to afford a lot of things. Because right now, the Fed is actually printing money again. They're actually printing money again, making inflation go up again. So if he gets rid of the Fed through the nuclear option via the Senate, instead of requiring a 2/3 vote, only needs 51%, that thanks to Obama, you could actually get it through the House and the Senate at about 51%, and then it will be gone. Then you can put the dollar back on the gold standard. If he does that, because he was reevaluating the gold at Fort Knox, he was looking into that. You've heard Scott Bessent talking about this a lot as well. It is clearly something in his plan book, our president's playbook, okay? He wants to get rid of the Fed. If he gets rid of the Fed, does this, you'll probably be making triple the money, okay? Or things will be a third the price. Wherever way you want to look at it, you making triple the money or things costing a third as much. Whichever way it plays out or however that plays out is what it would be. We've seen it in Russia. After about a year, their groceries were a third the price. Whether or not they were making 3 times as much money or if things were just a third price, I'm not quite sure how that worked out. But the fact of the matter is that is indeed the case. The reason why you can't afford anything is mainly because of the Fed printing money in the background. I've talked about it. The M1, M2 is going up right now. So all this comes back to the Fed, I think. Even though it looks like our president's doing a terrible job, I think I understand his strategy, although a lot of people are missing it. I've seen all the comments on X. I really think what he's doing is he's trying to bring jobs back to America. He's trying to solve this whole thing, but the Fed is actually working against him because they're on the left. They're Democrats. And they're purposely making sure the interest rates are high, which is causing some of these companies to go out of business. Our president's concerned about that because if they all go out of business, the economy crashes, right? So he's trying to play both here. He's trying to hear their side and our side. But he's kind of giving us the scraps right now. While at the same time, in the long term, I think he's trying to give us more jobs. But in the short term, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. So, of course, I agree with the sentiments of Matt Walsh here. He says he rejects American dream pessimism, and he warns about AI job losses. Now, one of the concerns I have with our president is how he's been promoting AI. This is a big problem. Although he is trying to bring a lot of these companies back to America, Apple and all of them are he had the tech meeting like a month ago. Maybe he looks at it as it's an inevitability, I guess. Maybe because all these other countries are doing it, we have to do it. We want to be on top of it. If we're going to be on top of it, he wants to have all the business here in America. I think that's his logic. Again, it's not really good because it's kind of like one of those things you want to stop somehow. There is an AI bubble going on, and I covered it over my other channel as well. The fact is, it's a circular market. But getting into some of these other things, you can see the right is really fighting right now over all this stuff. And I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but this is my theory as to what's going on. All right. You have here Dinesh, though. You have this big rift on the right now. Those that are for the country in the Middle East, those that are against it. This seems to be the latest thing that everybody's arguing about. You have here Tyler Oliveira, the guy who did the poop festival thing over there in India. He's been fighting with Dinesh lately a lot on X. Dinesh, why do you take so much joy in Americans' concern for the future of America as we import more H-1B to replace them? It almost sounds like you want to turn America, of course, into India. And so Dinesh, I noticed, has been getting very offended. Honestly, I'm on the side of Tyler here. I think the AI is run amok. I do think that there is going to be, ironically, there might be some good that comes out of this. The fact that there's such a squeeze with these companies right now, because the AI companies are desperate too. Sam Altman right now has been basically looking for a bailout. And I'll show you that in a little bit. We have here our VP, Vance, here talking about finally someone listening to us finally. All right. Vance gets it. Check this out.
A lot of people out there, Sean, who are saying things are expensive. And we have to remember they're expensive because we inherited this terrible inflation crisis from the Biden administration. But you've already seen signs that things are getting better. The price of eggs has gone way down. The price of energy has gone way down. The price of gasoline has gone way down. And as we know, when the price of energy goes down, that starts to filter out into the entire economy. But that also takes a little bit of time. There's another component of this, Sean, which to me is maybe the most important because I care so much about our young people being able to afford a good life. A lot of young people are saying housing is way too expensive. Why is that? Because we flooded the country with 30 million illegal immigrants who were taking houses that ought by right go to American citizens. And at the same time, we weren't building enough new houses.
So this is actually a very valid point that he's making out. Also, on top of what he's saying, the Fed keeping the rates higher than they need to be is another huge issue. This is why our president wants to get rid of Jerome Powell by the end of the month. I really hope he just gets rid of the Fed altogether, man. If he does that, that will be the single biggest thing that he did his entire career as a president. He gets rid of the Fed, puts the dollar back on the gold standard. He solves so many problems. You could have one person in the home working again. You could have the other one taking care of the family. Everyone could actually go back to what America used to be back before in the old days, where they actually had a family, a man and a woman married and having kids. Wow, that's shocking, right? So that needs to be brought back. And that would be one of the best ways to do that. Also, you'd have to get rid of feminism. That would be another huge factor. Those two would have to be fixed. You fix those two things, you fixed a lot. That right there, if he does those two things in the next 4 years, he's done more than almost any other president before him. Well, pretty much. I mean, I don't know all the things that the other presidents did, but at any rate, we also have this here. Apparently, our president is not guilty. Okay, he's not guilty with that guy with the island, that whole thing. Apparently, these emails that came out, we even have CoffeeZilla telling you this right here in this clip. Check this out.
Was thinking that there was something that happened, but actually the person that's in there didn't accuse Trump of something illegal. And so this is sort of the implication here with the Democrats saying, well, you're unredacting him.
So what it did is it showed that he was in his house. So again, he used to be friends with Jeffrey way back in the old days, like early 90s, right? 90s, 2000, a little bit into the 2000s, until he realized what he was, and then he stopped being his friend. And he was over at his house apparently with someone that was under, of course, age, but nothing happened apparently. So this is what it says in these emails, and no one ever accused him of anything. Matter of fact, our president's one of the few that actually helped out when the lawyer that was prosecuting him needed help. So it seems like our president is actually innocent, and it makes sense because they would have buried him a long time ago. If there really was something that he did, he would have been gone before he even got in the first time. He would have been gone in 2016. He would have been straight up gone. So, because they've been trying to get him the entire time, right? Also, so you got this email dump, but then the Democrats don't want to release all the files. So we had, I covered that in my previous video over on my main channel, that one of the representatives tried to get it through and they refused to allow all the files to be out. So it's interesting. I do think though that our president, even though he's innocent, he probably knows some people that are guilty, and they might be people that are friends. I'm guessing this is the case. I don't know if it's the case, but it would explain why he doesn't want to deal with it so much. He wants to kind of just get it out of his way because it's convoluted, complicated. You know what I mean? Although he's innocent, there may be some people he knows that are not. This is my theory. I don't know if it's the case, or maybe there's too many guilty people and our entire, Congress would be gutted or something. I don't know, man. Maybe it's way worse than we realize. You know what I mean? Maybe it's like something like where like a lot of people would be gone, and maybe he knows that it would be, I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't know what, obviously it should be out, period. Or maybe he wants to get it out, but he wants to do it in a different way that would be easier to handle or something. You know what I mean? It could be something like that. But the interesting news is, though, he is trying to get some of these people high up. Matter of fact, this just came out yesterday, I think it was. He's going after them. He's going after the Hillmeister. He's going after a former president there, Billy Boy. He is still doing that. He's going after Brennan. He's going after all these people, but he's not doing it through the island. Okay, he's doing it through some other means, other corruption. And maybe there's a reason why. Maybe it's because if he went the other way, it would be too rough. Maybe this way it would actually work out, or I don't know, however complex. It's maybe like the real complex ball of yarn. I don't know what's going on with the whole thing. Obviously, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. So we do have some good news in that respect. And this might explain why we're seeing calls for the reining in on, social media. You got here Macron declares war. Yeah, literally on speech, of course, right? So then he says that Europeans should stop relying on social media for their news and turn back to traditional public media. Why? So you want them to believe whatever you tell them, basically, is what you're saying. Of course. And it's not just that country. It's actually numerous countries. Numerous. It's all at once. It's all at once. You got South Korea. President Lee Jae-myung declares that there's things like hate, of course, speech, et cetera, crimes beyond, free, of course, expression. And then you got this is interesting what Mr. Obvious said here. He used to be big on YouTube back several years ago. Check this out.
And again, I'm not talking about anybody's daughter or granddaughter, but on average, the data shows just uncontroversially that not only do males place a much greater premium on free speech, academic freedom.
This is interesting.
Search for truth. Females are the ones.
They're the ones that want everything limited. Yep. They're looking for, of course, censorship. So this is interesting that it seems to be on the female side more than the male side. Although I would say it's probably those at the top, whoever they might be, which probably tend to be more men, but they're men that are not for, this is the way I look at it. It's us versus them. Okay. You got these guys at the top. They don't want any competition. So they want us infighting amongst ourselves and not realizing they're the problem at the top. And they also pit the other gender against men. This is what they do on purpose. All this is intentional. So you never see the real problem. The real problem is those, of course, at the top. Obviously, those behind the Fed. Obviously, those behind all the, all the stuff put into our Hollywood movies, our music, all of it, the rainbow, everything put through there. Feminism. That's the real issue. But they want you and I to have infighting, between the genders, between, political, whatever. This is what they really want, because then you never really solve the problem. All right. So that's really where I think it's at. You got these. Okay. What is this again? Okay. Yeah. Corruption files. Here we go. So it looks like Bondi's looking into this right now. Their foundation. And I really think something's going to happen here, my friends. I had a dream about this. And I've heard other people saying that something's going to happen. We had Kim Clement saying many will fall in the fall. We're still in the fall. We got a little bit more than a month. We got a month and a half left, I think, in the fall. I think it's what is it? When's fall end? I don't even remember. I know it's in December sometime. When is the end of fall? December 21st. It depends on how you define it. Astronomical fall is December 21st. Okay. So by December 21st, something should happen. And according to my dream, it's two major players that fall, and that causes all the rest to fall. And according to one person, it's Brennan and Comey. They're literally writing it up right now for Brennan. Comey's already been brought in. So if he gets brought in, that's supposedly when they all start ratting on each other, and then it all comes down. We'll see if that happens or not. You have here Raven Simone partially validates Orlando Brown's Hollywood claims regarding the industry, regarding, kind of things related to the island. Let's just put it that way. Let's play this here real quick. This is Hollywood actress Raven Simone.
Be in my life forever. I also got into the industry knowing that people that I work with for years and years and years might be in my life forever. And I will always be this way with Orlando. I think he is one of the funniest people I've ever worked with.
So fun.
I think even now he knows exactly what he's doing. He, to me, is an unhinged Cat Williams of his generation.
Cat Williams. So yeah, Cat Williams, of course, also has obviously exposed, the Hollywood industry, talking about the things going on, in the background. We saw that on Club Shay Shay before. We did a video on that here on this channel. The fact of the matter is, there is stuff going on. There is 100% stuff going on. And we even had a former corn star, Actually, I should pull that up. I had an interesting tweet on that. It actually relates to all of this. She became a Christian. Where is that at? Was it on this channel? I think I have 2 different X accounts. Let's see if I can go find it real quick. I can't remember where I had it. 1 second here. I think I tweeted it right on my front page. Let me check here. See if I can find it. Okay. Let's see if I can find it. Where is it at, dude? Okay. Yeah, by the way, she's lost all the weight. She got overweight. She's going to be acting again soon here, Gina Carano. Where is it? I thought it was on this channel. Maybe it was my other channel. I have 2 of them. Let me go look at the other one. Okay, let's go find it on the other one real quick here. Yeah. Is this it? No, that's not it. Come on. Here it is. I found it. Finally found it. Okay, so this is something I tweeted out as well. Jenna Jameson, she's now a Christian apparently. And she's been tweeting out stuff like this. Actually, let me get on the screen a little bit better. Reason Hollywood has been so incredibly silent is not only that they partake, they're covering for the big league hitters. And she says the island is the small thing. She says the island's the small thing. That's what she says right here. Like that's like the tip of the iceberg. So I don't know if she might know something. I mean, she was obviously, she probably would. I mean, she was even in some Hollywood movies on top of the other stuff she was doing. I don't know, man. I mean, I wouldn't be really surprised. That's for sure. At any rate, so you got that there. What else do we got? I got a couple other things. I kind of wanted to get into this. It's kind of it's not really good to transition from that topic to this other topic. Maybe I'll do something else really quick and then I'll get into this other topic because it's kind of a crazy switch. Oh yeah, I should mention this. All right, I should mention this. Obviously, if you haven't already got it, food supply, 25-year shelf life. 4 months worth of $6.97. Go check it out. Link is in the description. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity, How to Build a Cellar, Do Things Around the House as they did in the old days. Hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to definitely need that if the power goes out. And if all these guys go down, I'm guessing it will go out. All right? You might want to be prepared for whatever's next, especially if they all come crashing down this fall, which you only got 40 days left. Actually, 38 days left, whatever it is. So if these guys go down, like I'm thinking they might, is Kim Clement talking about this year? Is it going to happen right now? You're going to want to be prepared for whatever happens next. Link is in the description. Go check out my other social media link below. I wanted to transition over to this other topic, which is there's apparently going viral on X. Actually, let's just start with this here. We had our president joking around here, he's spraying cologne on this guy and asking him how many wives he has. This is just kind of funny.
So what we'll do is just take that, Joe, put it in, and then the other one is for your wife. How many wives?
How many wives you got, right? So kind of joking, obviously. The guy's obviously from Arabic background there. But what's interesting is that's been going viral on X of recent, particularly among Christians. They're all talking about this pastor who came out saying he has 2 wives now. And everyone's freaking out over it. They're all denouncing him, saying he's a heretic. And it's hilarious watching the Catholics and Protestants argue over this. The Catholics are like, that's the reason why you guys are off track. Look at you Protestants. Look what you're up to. And then, of course, what's really funny is I pointed out that actually there were priests that had more than one wife back 1,000 years ago in the Catholic Church, which no Catholics really know about if they don't read their own history. But back before 1139 is when they banned priests from marrying. Before 1139, priests were married. Yes, Catholic priests used to be married back in the old days. There's actually a couple branches of the Catholic Church that still get married. A lot of people are not aware of that either. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, they get married as well. The priests there get married. So priests used to get married, and there actually were examples of priests having more than one wife back 1,000 years ago. So I was like, I pointed that out to the Catholics that you guys actually don't know what you're talking about. You guys also had it. But on top of that, a lot of these guys are coming out condemning polygyny altogether, and what's really funny is they're like acting like it's satanic and all this stuff, and I'm like, bro, you know that you got Abraham, you got King David, you got Caleb the spy, you got like a bazillion people Gideon had many wives. Like all these people in the Old Testament had many wives. What are you talking about, satanic? If it was satanic, why did God bless all these people and call them good people if they were all just evil, right? It's just like so dumb. Of course, you could try to make an argument from the New Testament that it's wrong today, but that's not the same thing, right? You can't just condemn it and say it's evil altogether when it was clearly not in the Old Testament. You could also make an argument from the New Testament that it's not a sin today. And I think you can actually make an argument easily either side and with equal weights. Honestly, I think you could. So I think a lot of these guys freaking out over this is just because I think it comes back to where our theology comes from. A lot of the theology in the Catholic and Protestant Church comes from St. Augustine. When I started on YouTube, that was literally where I started. I talked about St. Augustine and how he was a terrible theologian and how, ironically, he's the father of theology in the Catholic and Protestant Church. And he was a Manichaean Gnostic. He was a Neoplatonist before he became a Christian. He brought all of his Gnostic ideas into Christianity. Some of his ideas on the afterlife came from Gnosticism. His ideas on sex came from Gnosticism. Basically, it's all evil. Matter of fact, even some of the guys, and it comes from the Latin School of Theology, which is the North African Latin School of Theology, which is what St. Augustine's School of Theology was. There were numerous other schools of theology. You had Theolophus of Antioch. So you had Antiochian theology. You had the School of Alexandria, which is where Origen and Clement of Alexandria came out of. You had, I think there was like 6 schools of theology, and Rome essentially shut down 5 of the 6 schools of theology, and they picked the Latin School of Theology as the one they ran with. And then, of course, the Protestant Church came out of the Catholic Church. They were the protesters via Martin Luther and Wesley and all these other guys, Calvin. And so they brought the theological baggage, some of the theological baggage from the Catholic Church into Protestantism, even though they did reject the Latin Vulgate, which, I mean, I actually can understand rejecting the Latin Vulgate, but they shouldn't have rejected the Greek Septuagint. Because, and ironically, Jerome actually believed in sola scriptura. He actually wanted 66 books, and he's a Catholic. And he created or produced the Latin Vulgate for the Pope. But the Pope wanted him to make sure to have the Apocrypha in it, and he didn't want to put it in. So there's a lot of irony with all of this. But the point is that if you go back to like the Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, the Orthodox Church, they tend to still have some of the theologies from these other schools. And so the whole point is, what I'm trying to get at is the whole sex thing in the church is from Augustinianism. And it got into Calvinism and all these other things. And it also got into our translations. Jesus said, beware of the scribes and the Pharisees. They will change the text and what it says. And if you look at the very first English Bible, it had Matthew 5:27-28 translated correctly, saying, do not covet thy neighbor's wife. It didn't say, do not lust after any woman. This book here, this Matthew Bible right here has it correct as well. It's from the 1500s. You had the Tyndale version. I think it was like 1490 something, right? I can't remember. Tyndale, a bunch of them in the 1500s, they had it correct. Most of them had it correct. The first one to really have it wrong and popularize it was the King James Bible. This is why the King James became so popular, is because it fit the Calvinist and the sort of the Protestant theology. And it fits total depravity as well. So this mistranslation of these verses fits in with total depravity. So this whole idea, you can't stop sinning. So that all came from the idea that, you can't stop lusting. And that came from the idea that lusting was sinful, but actually lusting isn't sinful in certain forms. They were mistranslating this verse. It doesn't say you can't lust after women. It says you can't lust after another man's wife. There's a big difference between the two. So this is why, if you look at the Old Testament, King Solomon was actually made a good example of how to follow Matthew 5:27-28. I can actually show you that. It's pretty insanely, it's insane if you think about it. You would think it'd be insane. Let me show you this. This is pretty interesting. I'll just show you this and we'll end it here. So you have this commentator, one of my favorite commentators from the early church, the Ante-Nicene church, Theolophus of Antioch. And he's commenting on Matthew 27-28. Let me just show you Matthew 27-28 again. I'm sure you guys already know it, but you've heard that has been said of old time. do not commit adultery, but I say unto you, whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. Now, again, this is the King James. This is mistranslated. This term is wife. I can actually show you the William Tyndale one really quick. Let me show you that real fast. And then I'll show you what this ancient commentator said. So Tyndale version, let me show you this really quick. Here we got it right here on Bible Hub. Matthew 5, go down to the verse. Ye have heard how it has been said of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, whosoever eyeth a wife, lusting after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. This is the first English translation. It had it correct. It says guneka. It doesn't say gun. In Greek, it means wife. It means wife in every verse. Literally every verse. For some reason, they mistranslated on this one. Well, not every single verse, but every verse where it's very obviously referring to a woman, because a wife, because this is adultery. Adultery requires a married woman. They tried to change the definition of the word adultery as well. If you look at the old Strongs, it meant unlawful intercourse with another man's wife. They changed the definition to fit modern times. Back in the Old Testament times, you could be a polygynist. You could have more than one wife. So they've literally changed the definitions of words from the 1900s to now. They've changed it to spouse instead of wife. When it's not, say, spouse at all. It says another man, unlawful intercourse with another man's wife. So if you look at the oldest versions of all these things, and you look at how it was originally translated, you look at people that actually spoke the language, like Theophilus of Antioch. In Greek, he paraphrases the verse. Here's the actual verse. He paraphrases it here in his own writings, and he actually even adds another Greek word, which says belongs to another. A woman or wife that belongs to another. He literally adds an extra word while he's paraphrasing it, making it very clear it's referring to a wife. And then he goes on to say that King Solomon was a good example. Solomon, accordingly, who was a king and prophet, said, let thine eyes look right on, let thine eyelids look straight before thee. The guy had 800 wives. This commentator from about 180 AD, who spoke ancient Greek, reading an ancient Greek manuscript of this verse, said that King Solomon, who had 800 wives, was a good example of how not to lust after another man's wife. Clearly not referring to women, because if it was, then King Solomon would be a terrible example. This is actually the evidence, and you can even look at some of these ante-Nicene early church fathers around 200, 300 AD. They'll actually say that bigamy and trigamy were not considered polygyny, which means if you had 2 or 3 wives, it's not considered bad, even back 200-300 years after Christ. So this dude only has 2 wives. Even in the early church, he would be considered fine. But, of course, today, it's evil, it's horrible, it's heinous, and you must be a cult leader, and you're evil. And then here's Mike Winger saying, you're disqualified. At any rate, that's my video. Kind of wonder what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.